me a long time to realize that my business was not succeeding like I thought it was going to. What's up, good people? Welcome and welcome back to another video. It's your girl Alex here. Listen, on this channel, I'm helping you define your life and build your dream. Let me tell you something. When it comes to failing, okay, another F word that always seems to come off in a bad way, right? But when it comes to failing, let's talk about 3 things that we can do to embrace failure, because failure is a part of growth, okay? If you're new here, then listen. I used to sell t-shirts and I really wanted to talk about what happens when you fail in your business and what happened to me and the things I learned to work through, so that way you can see me on this screen right now talking about failure and how I now embrace it. The first thing, and by far the most hardest thing to do when you fail in your business or even in life in general, is that you have to accept it. I cannot be on here talking to y'all about embracing failure if I don't mention that first. I had to accept it. So in accepting that, of course it was not overnight, okay? It took me a few rounds. I actually tried other business ideas again because that's how much I wanted to prove to myself that I can make it, okay? So when it comes to failure and what to do after you have a failed business, the first thing I would suggest is that you accept it. And with accepting it, I also want to encourage you to don't dwell on it, okay? There's no reward in dwelling on anything, because when you keep thinking about how you messed up, how it didn't work, what went wrong, you honestly close that door of thinking on what can go right or how can you do something different the next time. So let's all just collectively normalize that when it comes to failure, we have to accept it, and also we don't need to dwell on it because that honestly does nothing for us, okay? I know it didn't do anything for me, and I was in denial for a very long time. I dwelled on it for so long that I was starting to feel so negative in my spirit because I dwelled on my failure. The second tidbit when it comes to what to do after you have a failed business, okay, is that you have to learn how to pivot. All the skills that you learned in that business, say for example, you taught yourself how to sew. You can teach other people how to sew. I know for me, I would still have the skills in making t-shirts, pressing t-shirts. I still remember, you know, the vinyl settings, even though I'm not in that niche anymore. But what I'm saying is, when it comes to failure, the second thing that you can do to bounce back, okay, is to make sure you gather the skills that you learned during that time. I realized that even though my t-shirt business didn't work, what I realized was that opportunity of me showing tutorials on how to make a t-shirt and this is that, the opportunity of me being better on camera was a skill I learned. Everybody knows when it comes to making YouTube videos, okay, you talking to a camera. There is nobody behind this camera but my ring light. So that itself is something that I know is nerve-wracking for a lot of people who want to start making content. So what I had to gather was that honestly, even though I wasn't as successful in my t-shirt business like I thought I was going to be, I gained the most valuable skill I could ever gain, which is my camera confidence, which is being able to have the presence that I've always admired to have through my camera, so that way you guys can enjoy my content. But I would not have gotten that if it wasn't for me in the first round showing you how to make t-shirts, creating tutorials around that niche in the first place. I think it's easy for us to look at failure like that is honestly the end all be all, but that is not the end all be all. So if you're in a place where things aren't quite working for you that you imagine, I hope that you can take something from this opportunity and realize that you can pour those skills elsewhere. I love the comments that I've been receiving from you guys because you are also embracing that, you know, pivoting is a part of life. That's what happens when you define your life. You realize that something may not work, or something can be presented to you as an idea. That idea doesn't work, but in that process, you gain so much more valuable skills and information that I feel like people don't play into as well as they should. The third tidbit, okay, when it comes to what to do next after you've had a failed business, and that's honestly is to recenter and refocus. Take some time away, okay? Whatever that means for you, whether it's, you know, if it's taking a break off social media, if it's disconnecting from your social circle, if it's just honestly just closing yourself down for a little bit, because that is okay. We all need that time to breathe after something has not always gone well, okay? It kind of feels like a breakup sometimes when you fail in your business. That honestly ends a relationship with you in that business. So in that time, I suggest that you just recenter and refocus. Start pouring into other areas in your life. Me personally, I got more in tune with my physical well-being, okay, my workout routine. I am dairy free now, okay? So shout out to y'all who are dairy free. But I'm embarking on a journey that's taking care of me. I want to make sure I'm coming on this camera looking really good, having that energy naturally, so that way you can see it through the lens, right? But I say all that to say, when I realized that my business wasn't going to be successful, and after I accepted it, right? After I pivoted, after I've learned how to really have that great camera presence that I always wanted, I started pouring more into myself. I started reading books about self-development, self-growth. I started praying more. Whatever recentering and refocusing looks like to you, just please be sure to embrace that, because what you don't want to do is sit in that space of dwelling on what went wrong so bad that you lose sense of reality. And I think that that's so easy for us to do, but we have to realize that, listen, this world is not easy to navigate through. So if you're putting yourself and your spirit against something that is going to, you know, feed that in a negative way, you might want to watch that, okay? Because that's the quickest way for you to accept any and everything, and we are not for any and everybody. All right, good people, so that is it for today's video. When it comes to what to do after you have a failed business, you gotta accept it. Don't dwell in it, but you have to accept it, and that's normal. So if you're feeling cringy about accepting it, I'm gonna tell you right now, you're gonna feel cringy for a little bit, because it is what it is. Secondly, gather those skills that you learned while you were in that business and see where you can pour them elsewhere, whether that's through content creation, whether that's through mentorship, okay? Or even if you put together an ebook and you make some money off of it. Do that. Use those resources and those skills for your good. And then lastly, the third thing, don't forget to recenter and refocus. You owe it to yourself to be grounded and be centered, so that way that next thing you embark on, okay, whether that's another business or maybe just getting back to normalcy of getting a job again, because listen, I've been there too, just make sure you recenter. Pour that energy back into yourself, and I promise you it's gonna get better. Thank you guys so much for watching. As always, don't forget to subscribe if you're liking the vibe, and I'll catch you in my next video. Bye, y'all.